Hi there. Today we're going to discuss Chapter 3, Lesson 1, Integers and Absolute Value. Our objective is to read and write integers and find the absolute value of an integer. Our standard is 7.ns.3. The vocabulary you need to know for today is integer, negative integer, positive integer, graph, and absolute value. Please make sure that they're all written down in your glossary or in your notes. So I'm going to start with some guided examples on page 192. Make sure you are writing this down with me. Write an integer for each situation. So what you want to make sure is that you find any keywords that will help you find out whether or not it should be a positive or negative number. And here our keyword is above, which would be positive. So our answer is going to be positive 6. Or we can just write 6 because the positive symbol is not necessary for positive numbers. Second one, 2 inches below normal. So again, our keyword here is below. That's going to be a negative 2. Okay, now we're going to move on to graphing each set of integers on the number line. When you're graphing, my suggestion to you is to make sure that you locate your least number and your greatest number so that you can determine whether or not they'll fit on the number line. Sometimes you're going to have to write your numbers by ones, sometimes by twos, sometimes by fives. So in checking our first example here, example C, our least number is negative 7 and our greatest number is 8. So I'm going to start off with negative 7 and I'm going to start putting my numbers in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and when I'm ready to graph, I just want to make sure that I make a dot on the line, not above it, not below it. So here's my negative 7. I also have negative 2, and I also have positive 8. So this is my graph of these integers. Okay, for example D, taking a look at here, our least number is negative 4, our greatest number is 10. So here I'll actually be able to number the number line by ones because I have enough little marks on it. And then now I'm just going to graph it. So I'm going to start off with negative 4. Again, it's on the line, not above it, not below it. Got to go to 10, got to go to negative 3, and positive 7. Okay, so that's what my graph looks like for C and D. Now we're going to get into absolute value, and the absolute value of a number is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. So here the symbols for absolute value are two vertical lines, and how we read it is the absolute value of, and then the number inside. So this is actually read as the absolute value of negative 5. So the question is, how many units is negative 5 away from 0? So negative 5 is 5 units away from 0. So that's why the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Notice that the distance, no matter what direction it goes in, is going to be positive. So this is read as the absolute value of 5, and that is 5 units away from 0. So the answer is 5. Okay, so let's go on to examples E, F, and G on page 193. This is read as the absolute value of 8. So 8 is 8 units away from 0, so the answer is 8. Here, we're going to run into an operation with our absolute value. So what you have to remember is evaluate the absolute value first. So evaluate the absolute value first. So we would do the absolute value of negative 3, and that's basically how many units is negative 3 away from 0. It's 3 units away from 0. So then 2 plus 3 is 5. All right, and our last example here is the absolute value of negative 6 minus 5. So we're going to evaluate this first. So the absolute value of negative 6, how many units is negative 6 away from 0? That's 6. So 6 minus 5 equals 1. Okay, hope that video was helpful. Thank you. Bye.